All right, folks, we are upping the ante a little bit here, and we are going from just the basic information into some more uncharted territory for you. So let's talk about number four, because number four is going to deal expressly with your customers' money that they're going to wind up spending after you have written the contract. Now, I know. Sometimes in the field, we can build those expectations up to say, hey, you're going to get to that design studio. They're perfect people with perfect items and a perfect process, and you guys are going to have a good time. Sign here, initial here, and then you'll put them out the door. Okay, maybe you're not like that. Myself personally, I've been guilty of that. But I only say that because when it comes to number four, your customers really need to have an understanding of what it means. This has to do with how to handle overages that come up at the design center. So if your customer goes to our dream studio and selects $10,000 in studio options, we are going to ask them to pay for those items in one of two ways. The first way is they can actually write us a check for the entire amount, and we'll call it a day. So they can give us a check for 10 grand to pay for all of those items, and we don't have to finance it. We don't have to roll it into the contract. There's no worries there whatsoever. Most customers are going to not want to do that. That's exactly the opposite of what they're trying to do. They're trying to get into this home with at least as much out of pocket as possible. Therefore, we give them the second option, which is going to be 4B. And that option is that after they have signed their final contract addendum, once their total prices have been established for their overages, we can write up a promissory note. And that promissory note, in this case, would be for $10,000. And it clearly states here that it becomes null and void upon the closing of that home. This way, your customer doesn't have to come out of pocket with that 10 grand. Just quickly here, C is nothing more than just letting them know that if they are going to use a construction perm, then they're not going to have to be subject to a promissory note at all. But I want to get back to this question here, or the issue of the promissory note. Now, if you tell your customers out of during the sales process, hey, just want to let you know any overages you're going to have to sign a promissory note, they might look at you, I don't know, with a little bit of uncertainty about that, because there's questions now that are raised of, okay, well, my goodness, what's it going to be? How am I going to work through this promissory note? They're going to start asking you probably some pretty tough questions about how to handle that process. In my opinion, the best way to handle this is going to be to let them know with a pretty simple pitch. And what I would always say is along the lines of, hey, most builders, whenever you go to their design studio, you're going to have to pay out of pocket for anything that you're going to spend over and above what your allowances allow for you. But in our case, we don't make you do that. We actually just make you sign a promissory note, and then at closing, that becomes null and void, so you don't have to worry about it. And that kind of takes the tension off if you can explain it to them up front and just let them know, hey, you're not going to be having to come out of pocket with it, and that they're going to have a promissory note. This way, the expectation is set, and whenever they get to meet with me, and then they get to meet with Terry, and then even over the design studio, and they're asked to sign these promissory notes, they don't call you up aggravated, and then it winds up costing you a referral. This item, number four, more than any other item throughout this entire document, is what sales agents are stumping their toe on most, because they don't set that expectation up, and it's really not that big of a deal at all if your purchasers know about it beforehand. As you can see, as we're going through these, the more you can explain to your customers, the better off you're going to be in the long run, because you're going to have some happy folks.